Hi, I'm Professor Felice Batlin, and I wanted to talk to you today about study groups. So, a really wonderful way to study and to learn the law is to work in study groups. And your study groups should generally be between maybe 4 to 6 people, because you want to make sure that it's not too many people that you're not able to speak and really have a dialogue with one another. And at the same time, you want a number of different voices, and so you can really dialogue. So why is a study group so important? A study group is important, especially as a first year, because it allows you to practice using the language of law. As I say, you do not want to be in a situation where the first time you're getting out the thoughts in your head is on the exam itself. So it's really important to be able to make the connection between the ideas that you have in your head and the way that you're able to articulate those ideas. And you're simply not going to have enough class time to really fully do that. Study groups are also a really awesome way to help you put together the building blocks of law. And so it allows you to test your hypotheses, to test your knowledge with the knowledge of your fellow classmates. And so what do you actually do in a study group? A study group is not just a matter of coming together and opening your books and studying together. Rather, it's a time in which you are going to speak and dialogue about what you learned in class. And so one of the first things that you're going to do in a study group is ask each other what was the takeaway from each of the classes. So what were the rules that you learned? What were the doctrine that you learned? What were the policy considerations that you learned? And what were the various tensions in the law that you either discussed in class or that you could see yourself? And so that's the first thing to do. Another great thing is to make up hypotheticals for each other. So in the same way that your professor is continually making up hypotheticals or slightly changing the facts of the case, you should do that with one another. And so what would happen to the case if you added a particular fact, or you took away a particular fact, or you put it in a slightly different setting? A lot of people also are going to receive a variety of exercises in class, whether those be actual hypotheticals or particular exercises asking you to think about something in a particular way. So a study group is really the time when you could go over those hypotheticals or pieces of practice exams and write them out and exchange them with one another in your study group. And so study group is a way of testing your ideas. It's a way of speaking about the law. It can also be a way in which you dialogue about what were some of the comments that were made in class by other students and how those comments fit into the discussion, how they added, in fact, to your knowledge. In your study group is also a really perfect time for you to talk about what you didn't quite understand. And so instead of going to the professor, and a lot of you aren't going to go to your professors to immediately say, I didn't understand X, or I'm not sure if I understood X. It's a time to ask your fellow classmates. I'm not sure if I quite understood the rules to determine whether there is an offer in a contract. Let's go over those specific rules. Or I didn't understand what I was supposed to take away from a particular case. Let's just review what we took away from that case. And so a study group is really for you to speak. And so it's crucially important that when creating your study group, you're going to be with people that you continue, that you're able to feel that you have the ability to communicate with them, and that you're not going to be too shy in doing so. It's also great if you get a diversity of opinion, so that you're continually testing each other. The last thing that you might want to do in a study group is find out and take the other side of a case. So if a case came out in a particular way, you might ask yourself, how do we argue against that outcome? What was it that the losing party, what was the argument that they were making? And how do we construct that argument in a way that might be more accepted by the court? Okay, so thanks for listening, and we're going to talk about chaos in our next video. Bye.